Russia may be left without a significant part of its revenues. The EU is preparing sanctions against Russian liquefied natural gas. It will become a part of the 14th package, in particular the ban on re-exports.
While it isn't an outright ban, it would mark the first time Europe enforces concrete measures against Russian LNG. The sanctions would further complicate shipping logistics for Russia and force specialized vessels to travel over longer routes, from publication in Bloomberg.
Russian terminals on the Arctic coast are now exporting LNG via Europe. In the ports of Spain, Belgium and France, Russian LNG is transferred from Arctic gas carriers adapted to work at extremely low temperatures to ordinary tankers. These tankers carry the gas to Asia. At the same time, part of the LNG settles on the European markets, Bloomberg writes. With new restrictions, the EU seeks to deprive the exporter of such an opportunity. An alternative for Russia may be the port in Murmansk, or Moscow may decide to increase exports in the summer season when the sea is not covered with the ice.
If alternative shipping arrangements fail, Russian LNG exports may be reduced. Russian LNG exports to Asian buyers could decline or become more expensive to account for higher freight costs. In an extreme scenario, if Novatek were unable to reconfigure its logistics and Russian LNG exports were shut in, Europe would be disrupting a Russian supply contract with China for 3 million tons per year, which may generate a political backlash from China. James Woodell, head of European gas and global LNG at think tank Energy Aspects, in comments to Bloomberg.
Russia wanted to replace the European LNG market with the Chinese one, but hopes have not been fulfilled. Experts believe China imports liquefied natural gas from more than 20 countries, and the Russian part in the total amount is insignificant. Besides, Beijing traditionally prefers to receive Russian pipeline gas rather than liquefied. But even in this regard, Moscow has few reasons for optimism.
Russia has turned to China, seeking to boost its pipeline gas sales to 100 BCM a year by 2030. Russia's biggest hope is the Power of Siberia 2 pipeline via Mongolia, which is planned to export 50 BCM per year. But that has hit some pitfalls due to the lack of agreement over pricing and other issues. Even if Gazprom can get its pipeline supply to China up and running, sales revenues will be much lower than from Europe, from publication in Reuters.
In 2023, Russia's Gazprom suffered multi-billion-dollar losses, almost $6.7 billion. This is an anti-record since 1999, and this year this trend is the same. In the first quarter of 2024, Gazprom's losses exceeded $500 million. Moscow had pinned its hopes on Turkey. It expected to increase export volumes by several times, but Ankara has decided to limit its dependence on Russian energy carriers, and today plans to conclude an agreement on LNG supplies with American companies, and Russia can do nothing about it.
Turkey has had and continues to have such a dual political position. It speaks about the need for peace and offers its mediation services. In general, it is one of the few countries with which the Russian Federation has a dialogue. The same with China and a few other countries. Therefore, for the Russian Federation to limit its circle of communication to North Korea, China and Iran is a political loss.
If the EU decides to ban re-exports on Russian liquefied natural gas, the restrictions would affect about a quarter of the aggressor country's LNG revenues, which is almost 8 billion euros. In addition, the EU may impose sanctions on Russian shadow fleet vessels that transport oil and oil products in circumvention of earlier restrictions. Russian helium and magnesium ore, as well as a number of propaganda media outlets, may also come under sanctions. Reported by Anastasia Tarnavska, Valeria Nekopelova, UATV News.